Keeping the eyes closed now as we enter into our meditation practice. The first port of call is Dharana, and I know some of you know what that means. It is binding the mind to one place, to one physical spot. Now you can practice Dharana with a bahir or an external awareness, maybe focusing on a candle flame or something in the room that you're practicing in. But today we're going to bind the mind to various places inside. So we're really utilizing our own self. We're being resourceful, using what we have already inbuilt as our object on which we focus. Just to further elucidate exactly what Dharana is, a good example is found in the Mahabharata, which is the ancient text from which the Bhagavad Gita comes. So it says that while teaching archery to the Pandavas, Guru Drona asked what object they could see. And so some of the Pandavas, some of the warriors were saying they could see the arrows and the bow. And Arjuna, who is the famous warrior in the Bhagavad Gita, said that he could see only the eye of the bird which he was going to shoot with his arrow and nothing else. So this is an example of dharana, or pure concentration, that the focus is on one thing only. So the first point of focus we're going to give ourselves for our dharana, for our binding of the mind to one place, is the hridaya, or the inner heart space. So this is a little bit different to the Anahata chakra, which is the vortex of energy at the heart center. The hridaya is the entire space that is the house of that energy. So just allow yourself to have this one pointed focus, like Arjuna with the awareness of the eye of the bird. Just have your focus held there at your hridaya, your heart space. Focus there and only there for the next couple of minutes. Much like our initial asana, where we had the legs wide, much like our third pranayama, the Antar Kumbhaka, where we're holding the breath in. In the same way, this Dharana on the Hridaya, we can recognize that sometimes there is surrender to the activity and sometimes there is resistance. And usually in the more cerebral based practices like meditation and concentration, the resistance is different. It's a little bit more subtle. So in the asana, we can feel the resistance in the legs. In the pranayama, we can maybe feel the resistance in the part of the brain that is helping us to survive, that need to find the regular breath again. But in the more meditative situations, the resistance can be part of our habit of distraction, our habit of self-avoidance. And so as we make the effort to focus on the Hridaya, bits of the mind might be wandering off into distraction because it's easier than just sticking with one thing. And if you're experiencing that, you are an absolutely normal, healthy human being. And so it's not a further excuse to berate ourselves. We simply recognize that this stuff that we do, this yoga, requires practice. So let's bring the Dharana, this binding of the concentration to one place. Let's bring it to the Jyotishi, the inner light of the soul. So the seat of the soul in yoga is said to be at Agnya Chakra, which is the third eye. The Jyotishi is the inner light in that area. So again, like the Hridaya being the heart space as opposed to Anahata Chakra, the heart chakra, your Jyotishi is the inner light, which is kind of that soul space. Not just the point of the third eye, but just that entire area and the luminosity that lives there. So let's take our focus to that place now. And so that is the practice of Dharana. And we notice that there can be breaks in that focus because of distractions. But if we practice Dharana regularly, we can have longer stints of uninterrupted concentration. And when that happens, Dharana can start to transform into the next limb of our 8 limbs of Ashtanga Yoga, into Dhyana. So Dhyana as a concept is quite similar to Dharana. It requires practice of one-pointed concentration. So we think about Arjuna's focus on the eye of the bird. But what's different about Dhyana and Dharana is that even though they possess this practice of undisrupted concentration, Dhyana has to it a second element, which is the awareness that we are concentrating. So if we're to take it to Arjuna's story, imagine that his Dharana practice is watching fully concentrated upon the eye of the bird, but that his Dhyana practice is watching fully concentrated on the eye of the bird, also simultaneously with the awareness that he is fully concentrated on the eye of the bird. So in order to practice Dhyana, you must also visualize or also be practicing the awareness of the unbroken conscious flow of a single or on a single object, and a simultaneous awareness that you are practicing this unbroken concentration. So with extensive practice of Dharana, Dhyana can spontaneously happen in that there is an unbroken concentration, but we must then add in, like a hand-in-hand assistant, add in this awareness that we are practicing. So let's go back to the Hridaya to practice Dhyana. So we have the Dharana essence of unbroken, complete concentration on the object, which is Hridaya, or the heart space. But not just it alone. We must also practice awareness of the awareness. And then we return to our Jyotishi, again, the inner light, and we apply the practice of Dhyana to that. So not only the one-pointed concentration of Dharana, but the addition to that one-pointed concentration of the awareness that we are concentrating. Coming into the inner light, situated energetically around the point of Ajna Chakra, and practicing Dhyana there. dropping into your Dharana and subsequent Dhyana practices as your daily homework to refine your sense of presence and sitting with yourself. And just allowing the feeling of that internal stillness to shine with you today.